Hello people of YouTube, welcome to Netflix Talk. Similar to my film reviews, I will be going through different Netflix original shows, but this will be more of a light discussion with talk revolving around the pacing and storylines of a show. And I have decided to kick things off with an analysis of American Vandal Season 2, which came out today on Netflix. Now, for those of you who do not know, American Vandal is a documentary series about two film students, Peter Maldonado and his best friend Sam, who in the first season believe that a certain burnout Dylan Maxwell is innocent of a crime of drawing dicks on the cars of the faculty parking lot, so decide to try and prove this whilst recording their progress in a documentary setting. The trailer for this was huge, with the tone being played really serious like any serial killer documentary you may find on Netflix, and using its great buzz over an absurd concept. Who drew the dicks? That was one hell of a marketing device, and with the majority of Netflix users being an adolescent or in university or in college, it was fresh and unique. As far as I am aware, it was not hugely successful when it came out, but it had a certain cult fan base to which I am a part of. A few people were really put off by the ending that I will not spoil, but it was really ballsy when you think about it. Now, Season 2 has to up the ante, which really worried a lot of fans of the first season with what the showrunners chose to do. The vandalism of this is more of a prank than anything else, but the investigation is once again to exonerate someone pinned for the crime who didn't do it. The crime in question is who spiked a lemonade with a laxative substance that made everybody shit themselves. It was absurd, and a lot of AV1 fans were worried that this went a little too silly, but that's just the flashpoint. Gotta remember, same with Season 1 with the dicks, the crime is just the flashpoint to get the ball rolling. The rest of the series follows the form of interviewing suspects, disapproving what the scapegoat's guilt is about, and finding out the true perpetrator of the crime. Now, unfortunately, this does feel weaker than the first season. Obviously, the series has to take steps to improve, but a lot of the beats feel very similar, from having a corrupt faculty staff to having some dim characters and suspects that are in and out within 2 minutes of screen time. The series does try to change up a lot of these tropes, but it loses that personality that made the first season so enjoyable. And towards the middle of the season, I will be honest, I did have a couple of episodes on as background noise while I was doing other things. At least with Season 1, I didn't want to miss a thing that happened. This does improve towards the end, but I will get to that in a little bit because I first need to point out a couple of the flaws. Firstly, Peter and Sam are pretty much documentary makers this season. Looking at their characters in Season 1 and then this season, there is a stark difference. The two are personally connected in the first season, and they are characters we relate to and are willing to admit their own shortcomings. Yes, they still analyse things from a third person's perspective in Season 1, but I think the fact that they knew the characters in the first season definitely tightened the drama, and the characters around them are just so much more likeable. Dylan, the Wayback Boys, Ming, Gabby, Mackenzie, Alex Tramboli, these were memorable characters, and the drama between them all led to compelling viewing. Dylan was a way better scapegoat than Kevin, who is the scapegoat in this series, which is strange as I feel like Kevin is the kind of character I would hang out with more than Dylan, but there was just so much more dimension to Dylan. Kevin is barely in this, even in scenes where he is either getting hope or things are falling back onto him. There is very little change in his personality or attitude. Peter is constantly impassionate about finding the truth, but on the few occasions where he brings that passion into this season, it does feel forced. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy this season, but in terms of balancing the documentary side and the character side, this series just had a lot more of an uneven scale. In terms of memorable characters in Season 2, the only one that really sticks out is DeMarcus, the basketball player, who becomes a main suspect. He comes across as a watered-down Dylan Maxwell in the first few episodes, but in actual fact, he becomes a really engrossing character in the later half of the series. Other than that, there are a lot of characters that just come and go, and half the interviewees are disposable characters that are never appearing again. Season 1 was constantly jumping in different directions, focusing on different things each episode. This 8-episode season gives 2 episodes of build before we even get to any investigating, and honestly that felt like it was coasting off Season 1's success. And It's really weak for the first 3 episodes, throwing some obvious red herrings whenever it could. Now, that is until the final 2.5 episodes, because at this point, things get real. Now, from this point on, I will most likely be getting to spoilers about season 2, so consider that your warning. There are 5 pranks in this season, with the first 4 all being shit related. The 5th one comes when the identity is revealed and the final hurrah of the Turd blogger unleashes the dump. Everyone at the school thinks that would be more of a shit related incident, but no, it comes in the most damning kind of dump of them all and provides some social commentary and an eye-widening lesson for those gullible enough to fall for these sorts of things. The dump is information containing private videos leaked by a bitter catfish with a grudge against the school. This was an amazing twist that turned the generic formula on its head. One thing I love about this season is that it does give us a definitive answer on who did it and why. And it also allows us to understand the motives in terms of these people's situations, because I can't say I would have done anything different if I was in their shoes, and at least we do get closure with the characters this time around. As much as I prefer season 1, we are given no closure on a few of the characters. I don't mind that the Vandal was never explicitly revealed to us in that first season, but I do care about the certain fates of characters and romances that may or may not have been. The series gives us some more traditional endings, leaving myself fulfilled, and considering everyone was worried this one would go too crazy, it actually felt a lot more realistic. The social commentary about living lives online, creating a separate image of ourselves, is something we can all relate to, and I appreciate the effort this series went to highlight this. As for the guilty party, it is really messed up, and whilst understandable in motives, the way they acted is something way too close to home for a lot of people, and I think the final couple of episodes will leave a lasting impression on the viewers of that watch. In conclusion, American Vandal Season 2 is not as good as the first season as a whole, but in terms of episodes, I will say the final 2 are the strongest episodes to date in American Vandal. I am unsure if I wish for a Season 3 as of yet, as I honestly think these stories would work more when the characters are more personally involved, and I would like to see some loose ends tied up, but I can only imagine how brutal this would be in a college setting, and with where Peter and Sam are at in terms of their characters' ages, I think we have an interesting future in store for this series. With my Netflix analysis, I will not be doing any sort of grading system. I will just be saying if I recommend it or not, and this is one I would recommend, as I don't think the series gets enough love. However, there is definitely room for improvement, but in terms of Netflix talk, what original series should I discuss next time? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and subscribe for more content coming all the time. This is That Spy Cave Podcast, signing off.